One day you wake up and realize that something feels off. You're breathing. You're moving through your routine. You're doing the same things you've always done. Yet deep inside, something feels absent. You look at your life and quietly ask yourself, where did I disappear? Not the career, not the responsibilities, not the expectations. You, the dreamer, the believer, the person who once felt excited about life. And if that sounds like you today, I want you to hear this. You can return. You can rebuild. You can reconnect with the person you were meant to become. But it all starts with one choice, the choice to find yourself again. There is something truly powerful about rediscovery, something inspiring about reconnecting with the version of yourself that was always there beneath the noise. Because life, as beautiful as it can be, has a strange habit of pulling our attention in 1,000 different directions. When we're young, dreaming comes naturally. We don't constantly question our value. We don't spend every moment worrying about fitting in. We simply live with curiosity, hope, and authenticity. We explore, we imagine, we believe. But somewhere along the way, things begin to change. We start paying more attention to the opinions of others than to the voice inside ourselves. We exchange authenticity for approval. We trade meaningful dreams for comfort and security. We learn how to survive difficult situations, but slowly forget how to truly live. Then one day you look into the mirror and the reflection looking back feels unfamiliar. You find yourself wondering, when did I stop being me? Let me tell you something important. Losing yourself is not a sign of failure. In many ways, it is proof that you've been adapting. You've been growing. You've been giving your energy to others. You've been carrying responsibilities. You've been surviving challenges. But there comes a point when surviving is no longer enough. There comes a moment when your soul begins asking for something more. And that moment is an invitation to find yourself again. Finding yourself isn't about going backward. It's not about reliving old memories or trying to become the exact person you once were. It's about reconnecting with the part of you that never truly disappeared, the part that simply became quiet beneath the demands of life. The real you is still there, waiting patiently, waiting for you to slow down, waiting for you to listen, waiting for you to finally say, I'm ready to come back. The truth is that not everyone reaches this point. Some people spend their entire lives avoiding it. They stay busy. They fill every moment with distractions. They surround themselves with enough noise that they never have to sit alone with their thoughts. But those who stop, reflect, and choose to rediscover themselves are the people who experience real transformation. Not through force, not through pressure, not through pretending, through awareness. And awareness is powerful. Awareness says, this is not the final version of me. Awareness says, there is more inside me than I have been allowing myself to express. Awareness says, I may have lost my direction, but I have not lost who I am. The moment awareness enters your life, change becomes possible. So where do you begin? Not with perfection, not with a detailed plan, not with having every answer. You begin with honesty. Sit with yourself, not as others see you, but as you truly are. Ask the questions you've been avoiding. What do I really want? What have I stopped believing is possible? Which dreams did I leave behind because they seemed too difficult? What version of myself have I been hiding from? And perhaps the most important question of all, who am I when nobody is watching? When you ask honest questions, honest answers begin to appear. Some of those answers may surprise you. Some may challenge you. Some may awaken parts of yourself that have been sleeping for years. You may discover desires you forgot you had. You may uncover strengths you didn't know still existed. You may remember dreams that once made your heart come alive. Finding yourself again requires courage, not the loud kind of courage that seeks attention, the quiet kind, the kind that whispers, I refuse to remain lost, the kind that helps you keep going even when the path ahead isn't perfectly clear, the kind that chooses growth over comfort and truth over convenience. And here's something remarkable. The moment you begin remembering who you are, your life starts changing. Your standards rise. Your confidence begins returning. Your energy shifts. Your voice becomes stronger. You stop accepting things that constantly drain you. You stop settling for less than you're worth. You stop pretending everything is fine when deep inside you know it isn't. Because once you reconnect with your authentic self, it becomes difficult to continue living as someone you're not. The gap between who you are and who you're pretending to be becomes impossible to ignore. And that awareness becomes the beginning of freedom. Finding yourself again isn't a single decision made one morning. It's a process. It's a journey. It's a return. Every honest reflection, every moment of clarity, every courageous decision moves you closer to the life you were meant to live. Slowly but surely, you begin building a life that feels aligned with your values, your purpose, and your truth. And when you finally reach that place, you won't simply feel alive. You'll feel connected. You'll feel authentic. You'll feel powerful. You'll feel at peace. Most importantly, you'll feel like yourself again. The real you, the honest you, the confident you, the version of you that has been waiting patiently beneath all the noise. And that version of you can change everything. So let this be a new beginning, a beginning of remembering, a beginning of reclaiming, a beginning of rebuilding. Because the most important journey you will ever take is not the journey to success, status, or recognition. The most important journey you will ever take is the journey back to yourself. And the beautiful truth is this: you're not too late. You're not behind. You're not running out of time. You're exactly where you need to be, right here, right now, ready to begin again. To find yourself again, you must first understand what you stand for. Values are not just words written on paper. They are not slogans. They are not ideas that sound good during conversations. Values are standards. Values are behaviors. Values are principles that guide your choices when nobody is watching. They become the invisible compass directing every action, every decision, and every step of your life. I remember a period in my own life when everything looked successful from the outside. I had worked hard. I had earned respect. I had financial stability. I had the titles people admire. Yet despite all of it, something felt empty. Something felt missing. Many evenings I would come home, sit quietly, and feel a sense of emptiness I couldn't explain. By the world's standards, I was succeeding. But internally, I felt disconnected from myself. I had achieved goals, yet I had somehow drifted away from who I really was. Eventually, I realized something difficult. I had been living according to someone else's values. I had been following expectations that weren't truly mine. I was chasing goals that looked impressive but felt empty. I had ignored the quiet inner voice that once guided me so clearly. That realization changed everything. I decided to stop. I decided to reflect. I decided to ask myself questions I had been avoiding for years. What matters most to me? What do I want my life to represent? What kind of person do I truly want to become? The process wasn't easy. It was uncomfortable. It was quiet. It required honesty. It required humility. But it became the beginning of rediscovery. Many people never ask themselves these questions. They move through life, reacting to circumstances, following expectations, and allowing outside influences to determine their direction. But when you stop and reflect, patterns begin to appear. I began noticing moments when I felt energized, fulfilled, and proud of myself. I noticed moments when I felt aligned with my values and confident in my decisions. At the same time, I noticed moments that drained me, moments when I compromised, moments when I ignored my instincts, moments when I followed paths that never truly belonged to me. Through that process of reflection, I slowly uncovered my core values, and that changed everything. The environments that made you feel small. I remember a period in my life when I was surrounded by people who never believed in my dreams. They mocked my ideas. They questioned every decision I made. And little by little, without even noticing it, I started doubting myself as well. It wasn't some dramatic turning point. It was quiet. It was gradual. It was the result of countless small compromises over time. Then one day I stopped and asked myself, why do I feel like I'm becoming less of who I am? The answer struck me immediately. It wasn't life. It wasn't destiny. It wasn't bad fortune. It was the people, the routines, and the excuses I had allowed to stay in my life. That realization became my turning point. To rebuild myself, I first had to remove the things that were breaking me. The first thing you must remove is toxic relationships. Some people are not evil. Some people simply are not meant to be part of your journey. Some people belong to your past and not your future. You cannot grow while carrying their negativity. You cannot succeed while constantly absorbing their doubts. You cannot discover who you truly are while always seeking their approval. I had friends I cared about deeply, but their mindset kept me limited. I had coworkers I respected, but their fears slowly became my fears. I followed family traditions that no longer matched the person I wanted to become. I had to step away. I had to create healthy boundaries. I had to protect my peace and energy. Once I did, I finally felt room to breathe, room to think clearly, and room to grow into a better version of myself. The second thing you must remove is destructive habits. Habits are invisible chains that quietly shape your future. They influence your days. They influence your thinking. They influence the person you become. Some habits seem harmless. Spending endless hours scrolling through your phone, overeating, avoiding difficult tasks. Other habits are more obvious. Addiction, constant anger, blaming others, making excuses. I remember my own struggle with procrastination. I kept telling myself I would begin tomorrow. I delayed the work that mattered most. I convinced myself that small failures didn't matter. But eventually, I realized those delays were creating a life I never wanted. Every action I postponed became another brick in a wall separating me from my potential. So I started removing those habits. Not overnight, not perfectly, but step by step, with purpose and commitment. The third thing you must remove is the old stories you keep repeating to yourself. The stories built from fear, the stories built from limitations, the stories that begin with, I can't. I used to tell myself things like, I'll never succeed. I'm not talented enough. I'll probably fail again. Those stories controlled my decisions. They trapped my growth. They shaped my identity. The moment I chose to let them go, I experienced freedom. I began replacing them with stronger beliefs. I am capable. I can improve. I can rise above my past. The words you repeat become the reality you live. Your thoughts create your future. Remove the beliefs that weaken you and replace them with beliefs that strengthen you. Removing what broke you is not easy. It requires courage. It requires patience. It requires honesty with yourself. Some things feel familiar. Some things feel comfortable. Some things are incredibly painful to leave behind. But if you truly want to find yourself again, you must be willing to release them. The space you create makes room for growth. The silence you create makes room for clarity. The freedom you create allows you to reconnect with your values, your passions, and your purpose. I want you to remember something important. Nothing healthy grows in a toxic environment. Nothing meaningful thrives on excuses. Nothing extraordinary is built on limiting beliefs. You must remove the weeds before the garden can flourish. I removed toxic friendships. I removed harmful habits. I removed limiting beliefs. Slowly, I began rebuilding my life. Not perfectly, not instantly, but consistently. And with everything I removed, I felt lighter. I felt clearer. I felt more connected to who I really was. So today, ask yourself a simple question. What or who is breaking me? What habits are slowing my progress? What beliefs no longer serve my future? Identify them, acknowledge them, then begin removing them. It won't be easy. It may hurt. But nothing valuable is ever found through comfort alone. Because the person you are trying to become, the strong, authentic, confident version of yourself, cannot fully exist in the same space as the things that are breaking you. Remove them. Clear the path. Move forward. Your true self is waiting on the other side. Strength is not something you are simply born with. Strength is something you develop. It is built one decision at a time, one challenge at a time, one moment at a time. And the first step toward becoming stronger is understanding yourself, understanding your values, understanding your weaknesses, understanding what hurt you in the past. Because real strength is not only physical, it is emotional, it is mental, it is moral. It is the ability to keep moving forward when life pushes against you. I remember a season in my life when I went through failure, disappointment, and loss. There were days when I felt incredibly small. There were moments when I questioned my abilities and wondered whether I had enough courage to keep going. The weight of uncertainty felt heavy, and sometimes it seemed easier to stop trying altogether. But eventually, I learned something powerful. Strength is not about never falling down. Strength is about getting back up every single time you fall. It is about refusing to stay defeated. Becoming the strongest version of yourself starts with discipline. Not the kind of discipline that punishes you or makes life miserable. Not the kind that feels like a burden. Real discipline is the kind that shapes your character and improves your future. It is the kind that transforms small daily actions into life-changing results. It helps you do what needs to be done even when you don't feel motivated. I started with simple actions. I woke up earlier. I spent time reading books that challenged my thinking. I exercised regularly to strengthen my body and improve my mindset. I wrote down my goals and reminded myself why they mattered. Every evening, I reflected on my day and looked for ways to improve. None of these habits were exciting. None of them looked impressive from the outside. In fact, many people would probably call them boring. But over time, those simple actions became powerful. They created momentum. They built confidence. They developed strength. The truth is that strength is usually built in silence. It is built in moments that nobody notices. It is built when no one is watching. It is built when you choose to do the right thing, even when taking the easy path would be more comfortable. It is built when you keep your promises to yourself. Those quiet moments shape your future more than any public achievement ever could. Another important part of becoming strong is resilience. Life will challenge you. There is no way around it. There will be setbacks. There will be disappointments. There will be situations that test your patience, your faith, and your determination. Sometimes life will push you so hard that you wonder if you can continue. Some people give up during those moments. Some people allow fear to take control. Some people stop believing in themselves. But the strongest version of yourself refuses to quit. You may fall. You may struggle. You may experience pain and failure. But resilience means getting back up. It means learning from every challenge. It means refusing to allow difficult circumstances to define your future. Every setback contains a lesson. Every obstacle contains an opportunity to grow stronger. The people who become extraordinary are not the people who avoid hardship. They are the people who learn how to grow through it. I remember working on a project that failed completely. I had invested my time, energy, and effort into it. When it collapsed, I felt embarrassed and disappointed. I questioned myself. I wondered whether I should even continue pursuing my goals. The failure felt personal. It felt painful. But instead of giving up, I asked myself a simple question. What can this experience teach me? That question changed everything. Instead of seeing failure as proof that I wasn't capable, I started seeing it as feedback. Instead of viewing it as an ending, I began viewing it as a lesson. The experience taught me what worked and what didn't. It showed me weaknesses I needed to improve. It revealed blind spots I had ignored. Most importantly, it taught me that failure is not the opposite of success. It is often part of the journey toward success. Strength is not only about surviving difficult situations. It is about learning from them. It is about allowing challenges to make you wiser instead of bitter. It is about becoming more capable because of what you have experienced. Every struggle carries a lesson if you are willing to look for it. Another key element of strength is clarity of purpose. Without purpose, even the strongest person can become lost. Purpose gives direction to your efforts. It provides meaning to your actions. It helps you stay focused when distractions appear. Without purpose, strength becomes scattered energy. With purpose, strength becomes a powerful force. When I decided to rebuild my life, I also decided to live intentionally. I stopped living according to other people's expectations. I stopped chasing approval. I stopped measuring my worth based on external opinions. Instead, I focused on creating a life that aligned with my values and goals. I began making choices that reflected the person I wanted to become. Purpose acts like a compass. It helps guide your decisions. It reminds you where you are going. It gives you a reason to keep moving forward when motivation disappears. There will be days when you don't feel inspired. There will be days when progress seems slow. There will be days when quitting feels tempting. Purpose helps you continue during those moments. It reminds you why you started. When your actions align with your purpose, life begins to feel different. You stop wasting energy on meaningless distractions. You stop allowing negativity to control your attention. You stop drifting through life without direction. Instead, you move forward with confidence and intention. Every step becomes meaningful because it moves you closer to the life you want to create. Strength is also built through habits. The habits you practice daily eventually become the foundation of your identity. They determine who you become. They either move you closer to your goals or further away from them. Many people underestimate the power of small habits because the results are not immediate. But over time, those small actions create enormous change. I have seen talented people fail because they lacked consistency. I have seen ordinary people achieve extraordinary things because they remained disciplined. Talent may give you an advantage, but habits determine your long-term success. Consistency beats intensity when intensity cannot be maintained. I intentionally chose habits that supported the person I wanted to become. I committed to reading every day. I exercised regularly. I spent time learning new skills. I reflected on my actions and looked for opportunities to improve. I practiced gratitude. I focused on serving others. These habits strengthened my body, sharpened my mind, and improved my character. The beauty of strong habits is that they prepare you for challenges before they arrive. When difficulties appear, you already have the discipline, resilience, and mindset needed to handle them. You become stronger, not because life becomes easier, but because you become more capable. Remember this. Strength is built during ordinary days. It is built when nobody is praising you. It is built when there is no audience. It is built when you choose discipline over comfort, courage over fear, and integrity over convenience. Those decisions may seem small in the moment, but they shape your future in powerful ways.